Welcome to hell, motherfuckers. Anyway, welcome to Body Bags, everybody. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Horror Heaven77, and I think you already know what movie I'm going to be talking about. The movie that I'm reviewing today is from 2020, and it's a sequel. And why am I spanning this out? You guys already know what movie I'm talking about. Anyway, the movie I'm reviewing today is Tales from the Hood 3. This has just been recently released in the past year, and again, we get the team up of writer-director Rusty Cundieff and writer-producer-director Darin Scott. And honestly, this is a pretty good follow-up. Now, we all know Tales from the Hood is, it's a classic. It's a modern classic. It's probably the best of its kind, one of the best of its kind when it comes to mixing social commentary with horror. And I mean, we all agree that I think we pretty much all agree that Tales from the Hood is just an amazing movie, and sorry, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but just in my personal opinion, I gotta be honest. I think Rusty Cundieff and Darin Scott, I think they do the social commentary mixed with horror. They do it better than Jordan Peele. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Get Out, and I reviewed Us a while back, and I actually enjoyed that movie. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I actually really liked Us, and I like Get Out. But just personally, when it comes to the horror kind of mixed with social commentary, I just personally think that Rusty and Darin do it much better. Now, okay, so once here a few years ago, I think it was 2017. Yeah, I want to say 2017. That was when Scream Factory released the first Tales from the Hood. Finally, we got the Blu-ray release, and it was a really nice edition. And then all of a sudden, hey, why don't we get a sequel to this? Then we got Tales from the Hood 2, which I don't know if it just wasn't as I kind of stuck on that one. I don't know if it just wasn't as good as the first movie, or maybe just because the first movie was so good that maybe expectations was just a little bit too high, that no matter what they came up with, this included, no matter what they came up with, it just would have seemed lackluster compared to the original film. But Tales from the Hood 2 kind of nosedived a little bit. But this one kind of picks up, at least in my opinion. I think this is a pretty good follow-up. I will say that the only thing that I was disappointed in was, oh boy, this is going to sound wrong anyway to say it. The character that Tony Todd was given in the movie. Now we start off, you have Tony Todd, he's with this, he's got this little girl, and you're sitting there thinking okay, well, my first impression when I was getting ready to watch the movie, I thought what was going to happen was, okay, Tony, well, all right, in the first movie, our narrator was, Clarence Williams III, may he rest in peace. And obviously they couldn't get him back for the second movie. So in the second movie, we got Keith David, which, hey, you're not going to get any arguments from me. I like Keith David. Great actor, The Thing, They Live, Men at Work, Chronicles of Pitch Black, all that. So yeah, Keith David, you get no arguments from me of him being in the second movie. And I was sitting there, it's like, well, I guess maybe this was so low budget or something, they couldn't afford him, or for whatever reason, they couldn't get Keith David back. Oh, well. But then I see Tony Todd here on the cover. It's like, okay, now this is looking up. So does this mean that Tony Todd is going to be our new narrator? And unfortunately, that doesn't turn out to be the case. But so anyway, so he's walking through a graveyard. He's got this little girl with him. And she keeps talking about she wants to see her mom, and Tony Todd's talking about he's going to take her to see her mom, and they got these kids that are following him, and I'm not going to get into the details of why they're following them, but he's talking about he's going to take her to see her mom, and she says, when I get scared, I like to tell stories, and my mother's always telling me stories. She's like, is it okay if I tell the story? It helped me take my mind off of things. And so he's like, yeah, but you just got to be quiet about it. We don't want these kids to hear us. So she starts telling the story. So it turns out the little girl is, something of the narrator in this movie. And then, of course, it's a horror anthology. Obviously, we already know that. So we get into our stories. Now, the first story is about this young man. He's African American. He's trying to, he's trying to be kind of like this up and comer in a company, and he's wanting to, he wants to make money. He wants to be, advance his career in this company. But see, here's the problem. There's this one building that, there's this family that lives in there. There's a father, a mother, and a young boy, and the boy has just been dealing with cancer and chemotherapy and things like that. So the boy is very sick. So they're trying to keep this home because they don't really want to move the young boy because they're worried, like, if they move him out of his environment and upset him too much and everything, it's just going to make him sicker. So they want to stay in their home. So let's just say that in true like horror anthology fashion, this young man decides that he's not going to go for that. He really wants to advance his career and be a big wheel in this company. So let's just say he resorts to less than proper means to try to evict this family from, to evict them from their apartment, and things do not go very well at all. And then, of course, the family come back for revenge, and I'm just going to leave it at that. But I think, pretty much just what I've said, I think you guys can already, if you watch enough horror anthologies, you watch Tales from the Crypt enough, and even Tales from the Hood, I think you kind of already know where this is going. So that's the first story. Then you get into a story. The second story stars Cooper Huckabee, who, if you don't know who he is, he's a character actor. He's been in movies for years. Horror fans would definitely remember him. He played the character of Buzz in Tobe Hooper's classic, The Funhouse. He's been in many, many movies and played Andrew Stevens' brother in Night Eyes. He's, just so many movies. And he was in Django Unchained. He was, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Foul Play with Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn. At the end of the movie, they're doing the big chase, and they get a ride with him in a truck. And I think, what was he kept saying? It's like, far out, It's like, so anyway, he's just, he's been in movies for decades, and he plays a, the ultra right-wing conservative nut job. He's completely racist, completely sexist. It's like, black people have no place on this planet. Hispanics, Jews, they're all bad and everything else. And women are, only good for cooking and cleaning and sex and just all this other kind of stuff. So he gets his comeuppance in a unique way, which is, par for the course with these kind of movies. So I'm not going to get too much into that, but also too, he's just going on and on about how, goddamn liberals are destroying everything and all this kind of stuff. So very, very topical, very social commentary. So yeah, so you get that in there. Then we get into the third story, which, here's this young woman. She's a backup singer, and, she's like very, yeah, she's confident, but she's a little too overconfident and in her abilities. And so this one guy who's in a recording session with her, and she's doing backup singing for this other woman, and he tells her, hey baby, I think you got talent and all this other kind of stuff. And she's like, well, I got no money, I can't pay my bills, I can't pay rent or anything like that. So he tells her, well, you know what, I know this woman who, she used to be a big opera singer, and I'll take you to her, and she'll give you a job as a caretaker and stuff like that. So she goes, and this lady is played by Lynn Whitfield, who gives a hell of a performance in this. She's really good. And so, but the thing is like, Lynn Whitfield's character, like, she spends all day just over and over and over again watching this old projection film of her performing opera and everything else. And so she kind of subjects her to this over and over. And Lynn Whitfield's character criticizes this young woman about how, she's not really a singer and all this other kind of stuff. And so she's telling this guy who ends up becoming her boyfriend. And so the boyfriend says, well, you know what? Here's the thing. This woman's got more money than she'll ever be able to spend. And here's what we do. If you take her out, you kill her, then we get her money, then we could use that money to start building up your career. We start getting you recording sessions and things like that. And so she decides, yeah, she's going to kill Lynn Whitfield's character. And in true typical, horror anthology, things go from there, and it, it doesn't go the way it's planned. Let's just say that. So, and then we'll finally get to our last story, and Yeah, this one here, I really like the last story because it really definitely fits in the mold of the original Tales from the Hood. You know, you remember the original story, the last story from the original Tales from the Hood, where the young man, who was in gangs and stuff like that, and they try to rehabilitate him, and at one point they put him in that sensory deprivation chamber where he's seeing like the ghosts of the people that he wronged, the people that he killed, things like that, coming back to haunt him. Well, in this one, it's kind of a similar story in the sense that you got this young African American man. He's going around, he's committing crimes and robbing people, attacking people, things like that. And at one point, this woman places something of a curse on him, saying, that what I want is for you to have to walk a mile in your victim's shoes. And so at one point, he comes across this guy with these gold-looking shoes and everything. And so he ends up attacking this guy, and unintentionally, he ends up killing the guy. But he loves the shoes, so he decides, hey, man, I'm taking those shoes for myself. And so he puts on the shoes, and then weird things start to happen to him. And as things go along, he starts to realize that he's basically experiencing terrible things that happen to his victims. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Yeah, I've already said too much as it is. And then, of course, we get the wrap up and everything. And, of course, it wouldn't be Tales from the Hood if we didn't get the classic line. I'm not going to tell you how things wrap up. You can watch the movie and see that for yourself. But, of course, it would not be Tales from the Hood if we didn't get the classic line, "Welcome to hell, motherfuckers." So, anyway, this one here, not as good as the first movie. I don't think anything's going to be as good as the first movie. But you know what? Still, this is a really good follow-up. I think the stories are much better than they were in the second movie. The second movie, I think the stories were just kind of more mediocre. In the second movie, Keith David did a great job as a narrator, even though the very ending of the bookcase, just kind of went completely off the rails. But still, but anyway, yeah, this is a really good movie. Tony Todd, it's always great to see Tony Todd in a movie. And he commands the screen anytime he's on it, so you love watching him. But yeah, overall, I said this is a really good sequel. It's very well made. Unfortunately, the Blu-ray and the DVD are pretty much bare bones. You really get nothing on there, but it's a good film. And I would say it's a good solid sequel up to the up compared to the first movie. So if you were kind of really let down by the second movie, still give this one a try. I think this one will kind of bring you back to it a little bit. And like I said, I think Rusty and Darin, I think the two of them, they're really, really good at mixing the social commentary with horror. And, like I said, not to take away from Jordan Peele, I just think that these guys do it better. But ultimately, yeah, I would say definitely, if you love the first movie, give this one a shot, okay? Maybe don't go in with your expectations super high, but, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. If you were let down by the second movie, I think this movie will kind of help bring you back into the fold. So, but anyway, that's pretty much going to do it. So if anybody took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I also hope you enjoyed the movie. If you did, please leave a like. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the Body Bags channel. We have different guys, one every day of the week. I'm the Friday reviewer. Everybody's doing great stuff. And, yeah, so that's it. Everybody, take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.